Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Eagles Sports Update. I'm Jonathan Knight in studio with Khadija Griffiths. It was a tough loss for the EMU Eagles football team as they traveled to Waldo Stadium to take on cross-state rival Western Michigan in a must-win divisional matchup game. The Eagles fell short 45-31. Brogan Roback had a decent day as he went 29 for 45, one interception, 319 yards of passing. He also had his first rushing touchdown of the year. Ross Williams had his first career interception and would also be the first thrown interception by Western Michigan's Zach Terrell this season. EMU will host Miami University Saturday, 3 p.m. at the Factory Rynearson Stadium. Khadija, thoughts about this past weekend taking on a tough 20th ranked Western Michigan team? Quick thoughts.
Definitely. So in a loss, I always try to throw the shame at the quarterback or the defense, but actually it was a well-executed game by the coaches. Like you said, Brogan Roback, he did a pretty awesome job. He did only have one interception, which was good. And the defense also forced an interception by Western Michigan, which was also good because that was the first interception by the quarterback.
By Zach Terrell,
yeah,
correct.
We did a pretty good job.
You know, just quick notes on Zach Terrell. He's having an incredible season, probably one of the best seasons so far for Western Michigan. 29 for 35, 398, 3 TDs that day. Mm-hmm. They're looking good. They're off this weekend. And they're going to take on Ball State on a Tuesday, which should be fun down there on the networks. Mm-hmm. We're going to move on here, and we're going to take a look at soccer, EMU and soccer. EMU and soccer team headed on the road this weekend. Their first stop was in a rainy Buffalo as they took on the University of Buffalo. That game ended in a 1-1 draw. Michelle Rollins scored the lone goal. Sunday, the Eagles traveled down to Akron, and the defense in Ellie Tiller's early goal leads the team to a win over Akron. The women's soccer team will come home to close out the season against in-state rival Central Michigan, 3 p.m. at Scicluna Field. Quick thoughts on the women's soccer team this closing it out. They needed both these wins. They came up short with a draw on Thursday in Buffalo. They won in Akron. They have to win. I spoke to coach. They have to win Thursday to hopefully secure a chance to play at home in the playoffs.
Yeah, it was a tough draw this past weekend when they played the University of Buffalo. However, I do believe the MVP, for me at least, was Kaylin Williams, the goalie. She stopped so many balls trying to go in a goal, so that is my MVP for the EMU soccer team. But this upcoming week, I really believe that we're going to close out our season with a W.
Great. On to women's volleyball. EMU women's volleyball team would split on the road, taking a 3-0 win at Akron, but they would fall short 2-3 to Buffalo. The Lady Eagles will head back home to the Convocation Center for a Friday noon matchup against division foes Ball State, and will host Toledo on Saturday. Quick, you know, the girls are struggling. They finally got a win that they needed after 5 straight losses. Are they gonna win this weekend? Split? I mean, they're struggling, so the season's pretty much over for them.
Hopefully, I believe they're gonna win. They have some momentum from when they won 3-0 against Akron, but then they lost right back 2-3 against Buffalo. However, in those games, it came down to the 5th set, and they only lost by 2 points. It was 15-13 by Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills, in the final sets, they just killed the net, and that was a big thing. But Rachel Irby, she was one of the people, the key points for the women's volleyball team with 21 kills, as well as Jordan Smith. She had 20 kills and 17 digs. So
good.
We have a couple of good.
Well, hopefully they can pull it out. This past weekend, the MAC Championship men's swim team did open up their season, and they're looking to make another run, and they got a big win over Denson. Do you think the guys can return it? They're predicted to win the MAC again this year. Can they do it?
I believe they can. They have so much momentum going on. They're powerful in their swims. I believe they can do it.
All right. When we come back here, we're going to talk about college football. That's right, folks, on what a crazy weekend it was. When we come back here, we're going to update you on the AP Top 25. I'm Jonathan Knight. We'll be right back.
In today's cyber world, the number of passwords you have to remember can be overwhelming. While it may be tempting to reuse the same passwords or store them in a not-so-safe place, in doing so, you're putting your online accounts and data in danger of being compromised. The Eagle security package includes LastPass, an encrypted online password vault that can store all your usernames, passwords, and other personal information in one location. LastPass secures your login credentials using one master password, the last password you'll have to remember. Not only does LastPass store your login credentials, but it can automatically fill them in when you're logging into trusted websites. LastPass can also aid in the creation of strong, unique passwords and secure sensitive data such as addresses, credit cards, and personal notes. Since LastPass is encrypted and protected in the cloud, it's accessible wherever you are through the LastPass website, a web browser extension, or the mobile app. LastPass makes password security easy. For more information about LastPass, visit tiny.emich.edu/LastPass.
Are you an EMU student interested in getting a first-hand experience working at a radio station? Well, say no more. EMU offers a class through Eagle Radio that will thoroughly prepare you for a real-life experience. But first, you have to register for the class. Pick a date and a time slot. Then the world is yours. Eagle Radio allows you to be fully independent and customize your own show. Have real conversations about the news, celebrity gossip, update listeners about the weather, play a trivia game. It's your show. You're free to name your show whatever you want and play any edited music of your choice. If you love having heated debates and you feel your words need to be heard, then Eagle Radio is just for you.
It was a crazy weekend in college football, and it all started Saturday night in Happy Valley. And what was a whiteout in the stands turned out to be a whiteout on the field. And a night of first for the Nittany Lions of Penn State when they upset the number 2 team in the country, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
You know what? I gotta tell you, I was going crazy, Khadija, when this game went on. I mean, seriously. I mean, from the start, it all started with that blocked field goal. Mm-hmm. And it was just the trickle effect. And you know how that is in college football, and we get that trickle effect. When Penn State upset number 2 Ohio State, we all knew that after that, the trash talking was coming, especially from right here at home in Michigan. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the team, they're struggling. And they finally met their match in the Nittany Lions. And, you know, new head coach, it was a first. It was a night of first. It was the first time ever under new head coach James Franklin, he got an upset over a top 5 power ranking team, Ohio State, did it at home. And we all know when you play in Happy Valley, in a whiteout, under the lights, it's loud, it's crazy. I've been there myself. It's not a place you want to play, but is this a trickle effect for Ohio State when they still have Nebraska coming up at home? They still got Michigan State and Michigan both coming up at home in the next 5 weeks. Is this a trickle effect, or do they get it back together?
Well, I honestly think they'll get it back together. It was a whiteout. It was definitely. I watched the game. I had goosebumps watching the game. It was loud. It was just so much energy in there. But like you said, it was after the blocked field goal. Penn State they had it. To start off in the first quarter, Ohio State, they came out swinging. And then when Penn State had that late last minute touchdown to go into the half, I felt like a lot of momentum was going back to Penn State. However, Ohio State came out swinging again in the third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, it was all Penn State. But I do believe Ohio State, to answer your question, will get it back together. They do have some tough teams. I know Nebraska is coming up. They do have some tough teams. But I think this kind of, hey, we lost. This is what we need to build on, and this is where we're going in the future. So I do believe that they will get a W.
Make another quick few notes on the first of the night. It was also the first against a top 5 team since 1999, and that Penn State was able to do that. And last time they did that was in '99 against Arizona. So
Whew.
Now, there was a few other big games in the night, so what else you got for me?
Just talking about college football, one team that I like to talk about is Alabama. I'm a big Crimson Tide fan, and I really believe nobody can beat Alabama. But number 11, Houston gets shut down by SMU 38-16, in which will be their second loss of the season for the Cougars. Greg Ward Jr. went 21 for 33, 241 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Recaps other games?
No. All right. So just to relapse on that real quick, you know, a team that started out, they went from being the 11th ranked team looking in now they're not there. And in a minute, we'll take a look at the AP Top 25. But it seems like a team that is in a division that doesn't get a whole lot of love, but is really struggling in that now they're gone. You wonder what happened there with Coach Herman, with Greg Ward Jr. and the Houston Cougars. It's really one of those things that you wonder what happened and what went wrong. They lost to Navy a few weeks ago, and they won a close game last week against Tulsa at home. Now they lose this past week against SMU. Is it that trickle effect that happens in college football, or where do you think went wrong with that they fell apart there to SMU?
I do believe it's that trickle effect. I believe in a lot of college sports, once they lose, their demeanor gets down, they're feeling, weak, that, hey, we just lost, so what can we do to get this better? And I think that comes with a lot of coaching. I believe that the coaching, they need to, give them a pep talk, something that motivates them to get back on track. But SMU, they are a pretty good football team, so I did believe they deserved that win. They
do. All right, so we're going to move forward here. We're going to talk about some of the other big matchups. It was Oklahoma versus Texas Tech, 66-59. This game was insane. It was one of the highest scoring games of the night, of the season. Can you imagine scoring that many points, setting records? Oklahoma's one of those teams that got beat early on in the season by Houston. Does Oklahoma keep going forward here in the Big 12, and do they win that division?
Well, I think the Big 12 that there is a very stacked competition for those teams, but I do believe Oklahoma has what it takes to get that W and win the division.
All right, moving forward here, talk about number 3 Michigan, 41-8 over Illinois. The Illini come in here and they lose yet again, and Michigan keeps on rolling. It's a big week. We all know what's going on here, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Jim Harbaugh is doing it right. Jabril Peppers having an amazing season. He's up for Heisman. Is this what we needed here in Ann Arbor with Jim Harbaugh, having a guy like Peppers, having Jordan Lewis, guys like that? Is this what we needed?
Yes, definitely. U of M, they're actually 7-0 to start the season. They played this past weekend versus Illinois. It was actually their homecoming game. So it was kind of hey, we're going to win. It's our homecoming. We need this. Our fans are here. Our family is here. This is what we need. But it was a 41-8 victory. So it was they just killed Illinois. But 7-0 to start.
And it's something that's been needed here in Ann Arbor. It's something that's been needed that Michigan fans have been striving for. Michigan fans have been wanting. Real quick, Wilton Spieth went 16 for 23, 253. He had 2 TDs. He had a great, phenomenal game. And this is what he needed. Amaro Darboh had 5 receptions for 100 yards. Another great game by the Michigan team before they head north down 96 for that big game. We'll get to that here in just a minute. And it was another great game in the Pac-12. Washington 41 over rival Oregon State 17. Quick thoughts on that. Is Washington that team that we all think they are? Or when they get to the end of the season, do they lose to in-state rival Washington State?
I was pretty skeptical about Washington, but seeing this game this past weekend, in my mind, Washington State, they better look out. I believe Washington has what it takes to win.
All right, we're going to take a quick look here at the top 25 here. AP poll came out. Michigan moved up to number 2 in the rankings. Bama still 1, Clemson 3, Washington jumped to 4. They moved up 1 this week. Louisville, a 6-1 team right now with their only loss to Clemson, and there's no way really, unless Clemson loses a game, for them to move into the first place for that to win the ACC. Ohio State does stay in there, even though they lost to Penn State. They stay in there at number 6. Nebraska moves up 7-0 to number 7. Baylor sneaks in there at 8, 6-0. Texas A&M 6-1 moves. Even though they lost to Bama, they jump all the way back to 9, 3 spots. Here's a surprise to me. West Virginia moves into 10, 6-0. They sneak in there. They move up 2 spots. And that really kind of rounds out the top 10. Any surprises in there? Any movements that you don't like?
No, I like all of them. But West Virginia, they were a team that nobody's seen going off this season, like how they start. They started out very strong. I believe they're going to actually continue this season to go very strong. I'm glad they actually came to the top 10 because it's a well-deserved football team. The coaching staff is wonderful. The players, they know what they want and they're going for it. So top 10 is a great look.
All right, it's a big, big weekend, folks. Michigan State, the matchup that everybody's been waiting for since the season started. I mean, I tell you right now, if I get any more little brother, big brother going on this week, I might go crazy. I love my Wolverines, but I think enough is enough. When the Wolverines have not beaten Michigan State in 4 consecutive years, calling them little brother, well, you know what? It's time to wrap it up there. You know what? Who wins this weekend?
Michigan.
Jim Harbaugh walks in there. Is it a blowout, or does Michigan State show up and actually do something?
Michigan State is actually 2-5 right now, so they're not doing so well this season. However, that rivalry, I think, is going to be a low-scoring game. I believe that even though they're 2-5 and U of M is 7-0, they're going to give their heart out. It's going to be a low-scoring game, probably in the lower double digits, maybe like 12-6, if I guess that. Somebody's going to miss a field goal, miss that extra point, but it's going to be a very, very low-scoring game.
All right. Well, thanks so much for watching this week's episode. We ran out of time. We were going to talk about the World Series, but hey, you know what? You stay classy, Ypsilanti, and go Cubs. We'll see you this time next week.
Cubbies.
Myself, I'm just going to grab a quick drink. 2 minutes later, and everything was gone. My backpack, my laptop, my cell phone, my iPod. 2 minutes was all it took. I was lucky. The thief was eventually caught, and I got it all back. But now that I had that happen to me, I realized that anything valuable has to be treated like cash. I'll never leave it out of my sight again. My name is Heather, and I'm trying to be safe.